Washington, D.C., including the actor Cynthia Nixon, who of course is famous for her role in Sex and the City, are taking part in a hunger strike outside the White House. They want to press President Biden into demanding a permanent ceasefire.
Volume 25.
Well, I'm pleased to say we can now go live to the White House and join Cynthia Nixon. Cynthia, thank you very much for joining us here at BBC News. First of all, tell us why you've decided to take this action.
So I'm here as a person of conscience, I'm here as an American, but I'm also here as the mother of 2 Jewish children whose parents were Holocaust survivors. And I'm really here at the urging of my oldest son, who has been very active in this movement to call for a ceasefire. We see what has happened over the last few days, what is possible when there is a ceasefire. We've seen a return of so many of the hostages. We've seen the release of Palestinian prisoners, many of whom were being held without charge, 80%. What we're seeing in Gaza over the past 7 weeks is a terrifying slaughter of civilians, primarily 70% children and women, and this is not acceptable. We are seeing record deaths of journalists, of UN workers, of doctors, and I just keep thinking about General Petraeus, who said when the Iraq war started, "Tell me how this ends." And I think what we need to be focusing on now is a complete ceasefire so we can find a way for Israelis and Palestinians to move forward toward peace. We can't bomb our way to peace.
How do you think your president, President Joe Biden, has handled things?
I do not approve of the way our president has handled things. I think, this is a president who is known for his empathy and a person who has undergone such deep personal tragic loss in his life. And I think that's one of the reasons we're out here appealing to, we've asked Joe Biden, imagine if these were your children. Imagine if these were, Americans. Imagine if these were seemingly any other nationality of people. We would never consider this kind of loss of civilian life in any way acceptable.
Tell us about who else is taking part in this action, because you're joined by a group of other people, aren't you, Cynthia?
We have people from we have different legislators here from New York. We have a Muslim elected leader from Delaware. We're about to be joined this evening by some members of Congress. We don't have all the names yet; they haven't been released, but certainly Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman will be here. But we have different activists from a whole range of Muslim and Jewish groups here today and during the week. The center core of people are fasting for 5 days.
And how long are you planning to take part in this hunger strike?
So I was here I have to work this week. I was here on Monday. I'm here today. I'm planning to fast tomorrow, even though I have to be at work, and I'm planning to return on Friday. So that would be fasting 4 of the 5 days.
And what do you think the mood is across America as this, there's a temporary truce, but as the last few weeks have unfolded, we've seen people take to the streets, attend marches and protests on both sides of the spectrum, both Jewish and Palestinian supporters.
Yes, I think it's worth mentioning that so many of the mass demonstrations we're seeing here in the United States are Jewish-led demonstrations, and I think this is the one heartening thing, I think, from this terrible, terrible time, is the outpouring of support in this country and across the globe, and I think that is what is bringing the pressure that has brought us to this ceasefire that we're at the moment.
And what difference do you think?
And I also, sorry, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, that, you know, we now have, I believe, 47 or 48 members of Congress signed on to a ceasefire. And that has been very slow building, but now it's really picking up speed. And it seems to me that what we're looking at is 70% of Americans do not want the bombing to continue, and that's enormous. And we just need our elected leaders to really start paying attention to what the vast majority of Americans think and to what the vast majority of people across the globe think. And it's one of these things where, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu rejected this out of hand, a ceasefire in exchange for prisoner exchange, and but he ended up doing it. Imagine if he had done it 3 weeks ago. Imagine how many thousands of lives were saved. So we're at a kind of a terrifying precipice where we've seen how important a ceasefire can be, and you know, we're looking at, you know, the bombing may start again in just a few hours. And
but of course,
almost 15,000 civilians are killed already. We can't keep seeing casualties like this.
And what we've heard from President Biden and his administration time and again is that they support, I should say, Israel's right to defend itself after the attacks by Hamas on the 7th of October.
I think no one disputes a people's right to defend themselves, but how can the mass slaughter of women and children be seen to be an act of self-defense?
And Cynthia, just before we let you go, some cynics might say, what can an actor do that can make a difference? What would you say to them when they're watching this right now?
I would say that, you know, what my son said to me, which is that now is the moment for everyone who believes in how wrong this is to speak out. And anybody with a platform that can reach people, I think we actually have a greater obligation. So that's why I'm here. I you know, as an actor, I don't stop being a citizen. I don't stop being a citizen of the world. I don't stop being a citizen, you know, a person of conscience.
Cynthia Nixon joining us from what looks like a fairly cold White House or cold Washington DC. Thank you very much for sharing your viewpoint with us here on BBC News.
Thank you.